Hello, and welcome back to the Life with Kyle podcast. In today's episode, I am joined by Ryan Burton. He is someone that's in the meditation, awakening, and healing space as well. And in this episode, he interviews me, and we have a conversation about my journey from starting with illness and long COVID, and how that led into a deep, long, crazy journey of spiritual awakening, meditation, and a lot of big shifts and mystical experiences, and everything that I learned about healing, meditation, and awakening. So if you're interested in these topics, here's a good episode for you. Alrighty, enjoy.
Kyle, good to see you, brother. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Ryan?
Good. Yeah, so I think our last interview or our last talk was probably a year ago. And it's really funny because in that interview I think I said, yeah, it's not apparent that there's like a higher power that's watching us or something. And then I was like, but I don't know. And
Yeah.
then you were like, well, there might be. And I was like, yeah, there might be. And turns out I'm now convinced there is. So things have
Oh,
changed. So
interesting.
I'm looking forward to catching up.
Nice. Yeah, we can jump into that as well. Yeah.
But yeah, man, so we can start with your background and everything and
Mm.
um the awakening that you went through and what you do. I know you teach meditation, but you also hold focus groups for healing, and you have your own YouTube channel. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, where did it all begin?
It started with illness for me. Basically, was like, um, it started with COVID actually. 2020, I got COVID. It was like super early on in the pandemic, so there was like a lot of fear and uncertainty of like, what is this virus? What is it going to do to you? Like, I didn't know any friends or family members or anybody in my like local environment who'd had it.
Mm,
Um, and I got kind of sick. Uh, and at the same time, I was like a super active, sporty guy at that time in my life. I was just like really busy, but also I had no interest in any of the meditation, spirituality, awakening stuff yet. So it was just like a
mm,
normal dude. Like, I was at university studying economics, interested in sports, the gym, um, partying, girlfriend, all of that. And
mm,
then yeah, then like this was the first like real, like looking back, I was suffering for a long time as well. Like in my teenage years, like the whole time I was always like, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like myself. Like, how do I be myself? I don't like, and I always had this kind of sense of like, I'm never gonna, how did it feel at the time? Like, I'm never going to, like, I'm gonna die not being real is kind of what it felt like. It's just like this feeling of inauthenticity. Um, so anyways, like that was in, like all this like repressed shit, and then I got uh the virus, and after that I had these symptoms that didn't go away. Like I went kept on going back to the doctor because I tried to get back into exercise again, and I didn't feel the same. Like I would feel way more out of breath, I'd feel way more tired, I would feel like um yeah, just like loads of little different symptoms when I pushed myself hard, and it was
mm,
confusing. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So all I knew was to go to the doctors, and yeah, I kind of kept on going back, and no one knew what was going on with COVID. Like it was very, um, yeah, everyone was just like, well, try this, try that. They gave me different medications to try, and yeah, that went on for like a couple of months where like my health was just
wow.
like, yeah, and the longer it went on, the worse it got. And I only started to understand this later, like as I went deeper into this whole mind body healing space. But like my symptoms were getting worse, but it was a lot related to like my fear and stress of the illness and the condition itself. So it was like the more that I tried to fix it and go to doctors and get rid of the symptoms, the more stressed out I got. It was like, now it's like 4 months and I still don't feel the way that I used to feel. Like I was young. I was like I'm still young, but I was even younger then. And I was like, you know,
Mm,
what's going on? And it was really scary. And yeah, then I got more stressed out, and like then I got worse because like I was just in this kind of fight or flight stressed out state all the time. So my body was just like kind of really on edge and anxious. Um yeah, it got like the suffering just got worse and worse and worse. And the it was like a crisis. That's what it felt like. Like I was at university and I ended my relationship. I'd been with a girl for like 3 years. I was like,
Mm,
and now, but again, like at the same time, it was interesting how it felt to me at the time. It also felt like a an escape in a sense of like this life that I said where I didn't really feel like myself. And then this kind of illness was unfolding, and then there was this opportunity to kind of use it as an excuse to finally make the decisions that I hadn't made for a while, which was like um end that relationship because it didn't feel right. And
mm,
then yeah, dropped out of university. That was a tough decision. I was in my final year. Um, Long story short, like this whole illness thing was happening, and I wasn't finding any answers. So like I just cut out everything else out of my life because I was like, also all the research online was extremely negative. So like there was a lot of other people that had this similar thing. Like they started calling it long COVID, and
mm,
there were people that have been like, I've been sick for a year now. I've been sick for a year and a half, and there's like no hope. And the more I read that shit, the more hopeless it made me,
right.
and the more afraid I got of everything else. Where I was like, okay, just cut out everything, cut out exercise, cut out this, cut out that. Like, focus on my health, focus on my health. It became like an obsession almost, which wasn't helping. Um, but at least it narrowed things down. So, anyways, I went down this path, and yeah, at the same time, as I said, my symptoms were getting worse. So, like, I just stopped exercising completely because it felt like everything was too 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 much for my nervous system and my body. And I mean, this is kind of what opened the doorway for the awakening stuff now, because I was like, I don't know who I am anymore. Like all these
Mm,
things that I thought I was, which was like I was the guy that was good at academics. Now I wasn't studying anymore. I was the guy that was good at sports. Now I wasn't. I couldn't exercise anymore. My relationship
mm,
ended, which was like my first big breakup, and that was like brought all these emotions to the surface that I like. Um, yeah, they were just like open things up and really taught me how to let go. And kind of in that phase, like I tried all sorts of things. I tried therapy to help with um just to help with dealing with the whole illness thing. And then I started going more into the mind body healing space because like every doctor I went to didn't have any answers. And that's when I started getting interested in meditation. So like I'm
mm,
started working with this one physiotherapist who she worked with people with this kind of stuff. And she taught meditation. She was like a certified mindfulness practitioner, like this. I think they call it mindfulness based stress reduction. It's like kind of
yeah.
mindful, yeah, like the John
Yep.
Kabat-Zinn style. And
Yeah.
yeah, that and at the same time I found Sam Harris. Do you know Sam Harris?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
So that was the entry into the non-dual world. Like and I started doing it because it was helping my symptoms. So like I was um I was spending all this time researching online, trying to like fix. And that was just stressing me out. I would come like away from the laptop, like kind of overwhelmed. Um and then I was just like, okay, try this thing called meditation. And I used Sam Harris's app, and it was like, man, it just hooked me like from the get-go, where I was just like, this is something I've been looking for, which I didn't know I was looking for.
Mm, mm,
Because at the same time, I was starting to ask all these like kind of existential questions of like, what is the meaning of suffering? Like, why am I suffering? Like, why am I going through this? And I read like Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and
mm,
um, there's these books on stoicism, and all of that was, again, was kind of opening the doorway into like some inquiry, and all of that, where it was like, yeah, I was just getting so curious. I think that was the other thing. It was like suffering, but like this curiosity, because again, my whole life had kind of fallen away. Like this whole path that I thought I was on of who I was going to become and what I was going to do with my life, it was like, okay, well, that, like, I don't know where I'm going now. And I was just like, so what is this thing? Like, like what? what am I? Like, who am I? Like, what is existence? Like, what's
Are we in a simulation? What's going on?
yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, and then I found the non-duality and like Sam Harris's stuff, and it was like I had no idea what he was talking about at first. Um,
Mm.
but it really resonated because I was also very like, and just stop me if you have any questions or you want to take this anywhere.
No, no, keep going, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and like he really resonated because he came at it from like a very philosophical, like the rationalistic philosophical kind of view mixed in with the non-duality and the awakening and all of that, which is what I needed at the time because I would have been put off by like anything that was too spiritual. I was
Yeah.
like very yeah, I was interested in physics, I was interested in philosophy and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so I was like I would do these pointers that he would point of like, notice um that like a thought is just coming and going on its own, and like it's he had a lot of good pointers in that app actually, and like you don't if you don't do anything about a thought, it just kind of unravels. Like you don't need to get rid of a thought, or you don't need to like change a thought, or you don't create a thought and you don't get rid of a thought. And it was like, yeah, it started. I mean, looking back, I would say it's probably what people call mystical experiences, but I didn't have any labels for any of this stuff at the time because it was just like,
Mm.
yeah, I was just like, wow, that was really enjoyable. It's what it would feel like. I'd do one of his pointers or his meditations, and I'd just be like, it would feel like my whole body would dissolve. Like sometimes where I would just like
Mm.
be there, and then, um, yeah, and then there was just like the spaciousness, and but again, I wasn't like I hadn't heard of anybody else talking about awakening, so like I didn't know uh, what this was all about. But there was like this absolute like this is the most interesting thing in the world to me. Like
Right.
he and his app was I don't know if you have ever used his app, Waking Up, at all. It's really cool because it had like all these conversations with different like non-dual and meditation teachers. So like people
Mm.
from all different
Yeah, like
traditions.
Lock Kelly. I think Jim Newman's in there too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this was really my
Yeah.
entry point into the whole non-dual space was like, but
Yeah.
and I listened to like every single conversation because again, there was like I didn't know it at the time, but there was like a transmission in all these conversations around like
Right.
they were talking about these awakenings and these shifts and this no self and all of that. And I was just like,
Yep.
I listened to it and I was like, this like to my mind, it was like this is just fascinating. But like looking back, it was like because like when they're talking about it, it's transmitting the insight of that insight. And
Right.
I listened to every single one. There's so many on there, and there was like all different teachers and all of that, and it was just like because I was still like in this illness space. So I wasn't doing anything else with my life. Like all I was interested in was
Uh,
um,
nice.
trying to heal, but now I was just like awakening. And yeah, to like jump forward a bit, like through that, I just started meditating a lot. Um, and then eventually I found Angelo. I think I was just searching for like different non-dual teachers because of the app,
Hmm.
and like the first, I found him like through some Reddit. Someone shared one of his like his meditations, and they were like, "Yeah, check out this guy. It's like his pointers are really good." Uh,
Yep.
it was something on like the investigation into the nature of sound, and I listened to it, and again, it was just the resonance or the energy or whatever, where I just it was like the most profound experience I ever had up until that, like that I'd had up until that moment. Where, and again, at the time, I wasn't thinking of it in these terms, but if I look back, I can see like, oh yeah, that's why I started following Angela because I did like one of his videos, and it was just like, boom, it was so expansive, and there was just the sound, and it was just like, yeah, I was just like, okay, whatever this guy is like pointing to, I want to explore it more, and
Mm.
and this was lining up with I was starting to also find the way out of my illness because um I was really investigating resistance a lot, and it was like the more that I resisted my physical symptoms and thought about them and tried to and like stayed up and thought, the more of a problem I had to solve. If I just
Mm.
sat and meditated and was like, okay, what if I allow this to be here? And this is a lot of the work that I do with people now, but it was like, what if I really open up to the things that I'm trying to get rid of? So it was like I'd have like really bad headache. I'd have all this pain in my body. I'd have all these symptoms, but then also there would be this like background fear of the symptoms that was kind of driving the whole illness, where it was like it was keeping the nervous system on edge, and it was like it was like a hamster wheel basically. It was like the like chasing these symptoms, trying to fix them, trying to heal. And when I just kind of stopped that whole game, and there was different things that I was doing. There was these uh like brain retraining courses that they called it, where it was like you retrain your nervous system that you can feel that symptom in your body and it's not dangerous, it's not a threat, and then it kind of calms down the nervous system.
Hmm.
You can like integrate it. So I was doing that at the same time. I was like listening to Angelo's pointers like every single day. I was meditating like 2 or 3 hours a day at that point, and just like
Nice.
yeah, it was beautiful, man. That was
Nice.
like some
It's
some
like that was some of the most focused time of my life.
man. I was like in a self-enforced like retreat for like a few months where it was just
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
Just videos and sitting and
literally
being in
yeah,
that mode. Yeah.
yeah, and it was perfect because I realized like also for the illness, like I had to cut out any kind of content that was not helpful. So it was like I used to be
Self-defeating.
yes, exactly. I used to be on all these like Reddit forums and that was just like people endlessly going on about their hopelessness, and you get sucked
Right.
into that energy. Um, but like
Totally.
yeah, when I started to come out of that and that period we were talking about, it was like literally the only content I was consuming was like either a conversation from like Sam Harris and somebody else, Angelo stuff, and I was reading books as well. Like I don't know if you know the book The Mind Illuminated. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I actually it's this phone is sitting on the Mind Illuminated
that's
right
beautiful.
now.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That book played a big role for me. That's kind of what got me into that focus practice
Yeah.
period
Cool.
where um, it talks a lot about how to develop a consistent meditation practice and uh, yeah. So then that
It's a very motivating work.
yeah, exactly.
It's
It is.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And I needed that. It was like I needed empowering stuff in that phase, really.
Right.
Um it was like taking charge of like my body and my mind and all these things to kind of get out of that phase
Yep.
of stuckness. So it was awesome. And then yeah, then these other like non-dual pointers at the same time. Sorry, my dog's barking outside. I don't know if you can hear her.
Oh, I know. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all good.
Um, yeah, there's and then some other things started to shift around that time as well. It was like I was listening to Jim Newman, um, which was got confusing for me as well because I was doing like the mind illuminated kind of
Yeah, graduated approach,
yeah, yeah.
develop this, and then Jim Newman's like everything's pointless, your life is a lie, you know?
Literally, it's like this meditation gives you nothing. Like there's no point to meditate. In my mind at the time, it's like, but I feel so good when I meditate. Like
Right.
it's helping me for sure. And then he was like,
Yeah.
don't meditate. Um,
I
but
disagree with
also,
Jim Newman on so many things.
yeah, like that's why I really. It was at the same time I found Angelo, and he had like one video that was like to practice or not to practice, and he kind of addressed that point
This
specifically,
this whole thing.
this
Yeah.
whole thing, and I was like, someone's like saying it clearly because he wasn't saying
Right.
like it's only practice, and he wasn't saying it's not practice. It was like, yeah,
Correct.
practice helps, but that insight is true that it's all
Right.
already as it is, and you're not going to achieve anything, you're not going to find anything, and yet at the same time, practice enlightenment. Like it's
Yeah, exactly.
um,
There's a reason the Buddha did it. There's a
yeah,
reason Dogen did it, you know?
there's yeah, like
To the point of the last day the Buddha was meditating, you know.
literally,
So, yeah.
um, yeah, because there was another guy that do you know John Aston at all? Um,
No, no, never heard of that guy.
he's not as extreme as like Jim Newman and them, but he's also quite non-dual. So Sam
Yep.
Harris had him on his channel, um,
Nice.
and I would go to his like satsangs on a Sunday. His pointing was really fucking good though. Like, uh, it opened up a lot. He was really good at like pointing to the visual field and just like he
Mm,
had his transmission was really like around like the richness of experience. So you'd kind of like look at the visual field and be like, how much is actually happening here, and that it's not
mm.
it's not what the mind is saying it is, basically. It's like, okay, there's all these labels and concepts and objects, but like this, like what's this richness of experience that can't be like put into anything, and it's just there. And like he'd point to it, and I'd be like ogling at the wall. And I'd be like, oh my god, he's like a
Wow,
wall.
cool.
He's like a wall is not a wall. And I'm like, yeah, what the fuck is it?
Right.
So
That's awesome.
he was really good at that. Like his transmission was good, but he was the same. So like he'd be in his satsang and he'd be like, yeah, meditation's a waste of time. Um, but it's funny. The reason I thought of the story is because it's like what you were saying about the Buddha, whereas like he would go on all these retreats, and then one day he had this like big, like I think the no self on non-dual shift or whatever you want to call it, where he was like, oh my god, it's all been pointless. Like everything I've ever been looking for was right here. This whole spiritual journey I've been on was like a load of nonsense. Like he had this insight for himself, and then he started teaching, saying like, yeah, meditation was a waste of time. But I was like, where did you have that insight while you were on a meditation
Right.
retreat? You didn't
Yeah,
have that
exactly.
insight while you were like, I don't know,
So
doing
this is
accounting.
it's just beyond me. I mean, maybe I feel like their role in nature, like their role in the universe, is to be that
Yeah,
deconstructive element in awakening and
yeah,
non-duality for the people that are overly attached to it.
yeah, exactly.
And
But
it does have
it
a
is.
purpose.
Yeah, it is. I actually agree with you completely. Where because it served that role for me, where um
Correct. Yeah.
I was like, shit, it's like, but it does have so many downsides as well, where I was really grateful that I had someone like Angelo kind of balancing the scales, where he was like, don't get stuck in that. Like
Right.
that's a
Right.
pointer, but it's like you can just reify that in the same way that you can reify the self view, like
True.
the
Yeah.
magnitude.
It can become a belief or a conviction.
Exactly, or just like a new identity to kind of hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new non-identity identity. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like Frank has been talking about it really well recently. Like
Oh, cool. Cool.
I love it. Yeah, he like I completely agree with how he describes it, where it's like, you can get stuck in the eternalistic view or you can get stuck in the nihilistic view. You can reify
Right.
the the everythingness or you can reify the nothingness, but it's like it's beyond both and neither, and leaves none of it out. But it's not in that view or that view or that view.
Yep. Yeah,
Um
exactly. I think the thing is it's the pernicious nature of views and positions that are
yeah,
really constructs of the human mind. A lot of the games that we play in conventional life and in human interactions, we also end up playing in spirituality and in
exactly.
non-duality particularly. You know,
Exactly.
like non-duality can easily be used as an excuse
Yeah.
to not handle things, not handle pressing matters,
Yeah.
and actually live a life that's very full of neglect.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's like I completely agree. I saw it play out in myself as well. Like I went through a phase then kind of, well, like I've had phases where I don't know, it's like a flip-flopping. Um,
right.
where you go too much into the self view, maybe. And then I feel like we also have different tendencies, and I kind of have a tendency to escape. So then like the non-dual view was
True.
always so like enticing.
It's like extra liberating for things not to matter because for things to matter is painful.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the views I totally disagree with non-duality. You know, like
Yeah.
they say like nothing matters. No one knows if anything matters or doesn't. We
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. That's fair.
you
Yeah.
know? So to pretend like an absolute truth, nothing matters. Like
Yeah.
we have no idea what we're talking about. We
Yeah.
just don't.
Yeah. And another one for me, which like I see very clearly now, which like I was caught up in this at some point, but like people in the non-dual space that are like see any aspect of life as like separate from the whole path or like the whole awakening or the whole um I don't know. Like it's interesting in the non-dual space.
Mm,
They get triggered by so many different things. Like by anyone doing like shadow work or therapy or um or anything, right? Going to the gym or
Right.
like any of these kind of things. It's like if you're stuck
I
in
want to
that
get
view,
it.
it's like
I want
what's
to get in. I want to get into construction. There is no such thing as construction. Construction doesn't exist.
who's gonna do construction?
Who's going to construct anything? Wood is not real. Homes aren't real.
Literally. But it's like, yeah, I mean the view is that, but like this is the same fucking thing. Like the reality that we are in
Yeah.
includes everything. Like it includes all of that shit as well, you know.
It's
Um,
it's all Buddha. It's all life. I don't see
exactly.
why
Yeah.
it seems very just aversive to life
Yeah.
in some respects. Because if not if nothing
Yeah.
is like impermissible, and everything, everything is the absolute itself, then I don't know. I don't see why
Yeah.
people would be averse to, you know, pursuing their gifts or
Yeah.
developing certain skills, like whatever.
Yeah. I think it's just like it's a new like safety mechanism by the ego. Because again, like I've had
Yeah.
to work through it myself, like literally that kind of a um tendency. And it's like, so why am I doing this? And it's like it's pain often.
It's
It's like life is too painful, so fuck all of it, and like let me go meditate into oblivion where like I don't have to participate.
Dude, it's hard. Like in my case, it's not even that. It's not even conscious at that level of like choosing
Yeah.
to um enter, or choosing to abide in a non-dual state. So for me, a non-dual state is natural, like it's constantly running, right?
Yeah.
So when I get triggered, or like when I get, pissed off or whatever, then like the negative emotions come up, or like the reactivity comes up, shuts off the non-duality,
Yeah.
and I'm actually able to feel, violent rage or whatever it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
or strong irritation. And literally, I mean, this happens in a microsecond. As soon as the nervous system like re-regulates itself and it calms down a little bit, boom, flips right back. Everything's freaking Jesus Christ, you
Right.
know.
Right. Yeah.
Like the table's Jesus Christ, my body, everything's the flesh of the immortal.
Yeah.
And it happens like that fast. It's not even something that I choose. I prefer to stay in the feeling
Yeah.
of violence, actually like work through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've actually had to like at times like construct a separate self and an ego,
Right.
just to be able to feel and process a reaction appropriately.
Right. Right.
Because I know to just relax and not do anything just
Mm-hmm.
makes the non-dual state stronger. And
Mm-hmm.
it just is, it's too far away from the reactivity.
Right. But don't you think that dissolves the reactivity anyway? Like, or do you think it's still like it has to happen separately through?
I think the problem is that it's not that, at least in my case, maybe it's different for you, but it's not that
Mm,
like when it flips back to the Godhead that the problem gets, yeah, like sure, it gets resolved in that moment.
mm,
Like it,
mm.
it
Yeah.
dissipates, like what you said with Sam Harris, like, thoughts, they dissipate themselves. But
Yeah.
I find that I've considered that maybe it's it's literally like a non-dual adaptive mechanism that my system has developed in order to not
Right. Right.
remain in intense feelings of
Yeah.
rage or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. It's almost the flip of how it is for me. Like, and I have another friend. We've kind of discussed this before, and because a huge part of the healing work that I did of like healing from the chronic illness was spending so much time going directly into what is the most uncomfortable part of my experience. Like that was like so much of the work that I did was like,
Wow, what a question. That's great.
yeah, and it was so
Wow.
powerful because it kind of unraveled the whole um trying to get away, trying to fix, trying to like resist. And I would often ask like, what am I resisting? And why is this symptom a problem? Like if I had like really intense pain somewhere or are you frozen? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. You're good. Uh, anyway, I was doing so much of like going
Okay, now you're
into.
frozen.
Am I frozen? Shut my laptop is close something. Okay, there we go.
You back?
Yeah, so I don't know why that happened.
Oh, all good.
I've got all I'm trying to build like these AI things on my laptop. Like I'm doing a lot of coding and I have all these fucking programs running in the background, which I think is like using up all my RAM. So my laptop.
Nice. You know how to code and program?
Yeah, I'm trying to get more into it. I used to do it in high school. I did some like
Wow.
programming classes and then I did a bit in university. And then I left that whole world completely with like the whole the meditation, the spiritual journey. I had zero interest in it until
Mm-hmm.
until it started coming much more back into life. And this year I've been really interested in like the whole AI coding space and like building stuff with it. And yeah, I'm just starting to get more into it. So it's quite fun. It's
That
really
is cool.
yeah, it's really easy nowadays to code. Actually, you just get AI to. It's so it can do so
To
much.
do most of it.
Literally.
My sister's a programmer too, and I was like, yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like how good are you at coding? And she's like, oh, I'm not like a real programmer. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, there's programmers that like can code from memory.
Right,
She's like,
right,
I'm
right.
not one of those. Like, I can only code with ChatGPT.
Right. But I mean, like the best, that's what the best coders in the world are doing now.
Right, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole different tangent. But it's interesting. It's an interesting space. Um, but yeah,
And so where were we?
that's it. We were talking about the, uh,
You're talking about the flip side.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it was funny for me. It was almost the opposite. Like you were saying, like how the non-dual state was um, like an adaptive mechanism to not be in the reactivity or the emotion. I often find like the opposite because I'd spent so much time basically training myself to be in the emotion, go into the like
Mm,
go into the sensation, go into the body, what's there, feel it, feel it, feel it.
mm.
Look for the most challenging aspect of the experience. Shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. Um, that it's like I almost have like I need to be pulled back into the light sometimes. Like
You're like too far in Shadowland weirdness, sadness,
literally, man, it's just like this like existential despair, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
bring on more existential despair. Like, give it to
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
I'm like a shadow work addict, like honestly. Um, but it's funny because I have a friend who's like he's completely on the flip side where he's all like always in the wet, like, and it's interesting how these things play out. Like it's just I don't think he's really bypassing. It's just his path. Um,
Right.
and he's always pointing to this like this light that's always here and this kind of the luminosity, and then that's just like all he talks about. Um, so then we'll have a conversation, and I'll be like, okay, but don't forget about like integrating the shadow and what's there, and he'll be like, yeah, but don't forget about the light, like, and it's like it's a good. I don't know. We balance each other out nicely like that. Um,
It's a good argument that the non-dualists have. And I don't completely disagree with it, that like
yeah,
awakening is not necessarily about shadow work or resolving the personality. I mean, that's a dimension of it, and that's
yeah,
that's a that's an emphasis that people take, right? But
yeah,
um it's just a particular emphasis. Like one thing that I could say was
yeah,
like, well, yeah, you're bypassing life, and
yeah,
you're not resolving these particular things about yourself. And the answer they would throw right back at me, or that I could even take that position, right? Is like, who said that life was about anything in particular at all?
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah,
Like how do we know that life is that life is absolutely about resolution of the personality and healing?
yeah,
Is that is that
exactly.
is that is that is that just a trip that you're on?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that as well, actually.
So,
Yeah. I feel
but
like it's just like seeing when something is like a fixation that is
true.
yeah, because it's like any of those
Yeah.
perspectives can be true. but it's like, and again, this I learned a lot from Angelo with this. When I would like attend his retreats or see him working with people in Q&A or one-on-one, he would always
Right.
just be figuring out what's someone's fixation and then addressing that in the moment with them, where it was like, what view
Nice.
is this person stuck on, or like what is blocking their path from deepening. And then it's
Yeah.
never about like these kind of absolutist, what's the absolute perspective, or like, what's right or what's wrong. It's just about,
Right.
in this moment, what's blocking this realization from deepening for this person, or what's blocking life from just unfolding spontaneously for them. And
Yeah. Fundamentally, what is the grasping that's happening? Like you could put views
exactly.
aside. You could just put views aside and look at that. Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. None of that shit matters. Like that's when all these kind of
Right.
debates are like, yeah, but what's it actually about? It's like we could look at the debate, or like, why does this even matter? Or, are you just
Yep.
avoiding the fact that you're in a relationship that you hate? And so let's debate non-duality, like rather than like deal with like having a conversation with your husband or your wife, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's usually what's going on, I feel like, in those spaces. Or like a career or something like that, like just addressing life shit, then that all stops
Yep.
often.
Which is, I mean, this is. I've been a teacher for a long time now, right?
Yeah,
Most of the issues people have and ask me questions about are actually not about realization.
yeah, yeah,
They're about life problems.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it
That
get
doesn't
it, so
surprise
it,
me. Yeah,
yeah, so it gets yeah, it's part of the same. It's two sides of the same coin because the reason
yeah,
people are seeking the awakening is because of the suffering from the conditions or what they
exactly.
perceive to be the suffering from the conditions.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I see it a lot in, well, I see that because I do some work with like other, um, I run like a few different kind of groups with people, and one is with like another lady, and it tracks like a different crowd, and it's often more of like a spiritual, um, people with from a spiritual background, whereas the people in kind of my healing containers are usually more from like a chronic illness background. So it's less,
Ah,
it's
wow.
yeah, they kind of get into the non-dual, like I don't really call it non-duality when I talk with them, but um I kind of mix it all together, and again, so it's just like
Mhm.
what's making this person suffer. Like I don't really care to talk about realization too much. It's more just like what can we address in your life that's gonna you know help. And it
Make
might,
it better.
yeah, it
Yeah.
might be life shit, it might be showing them the illusory nature of their thoughts and the whole kind of story that they're on. um but
And those can all be stepping stones for deep awakening. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And they might not even see it as
for sure.
awakening at that time, but it's like the unfolding of it as well. Um, but what I wanted to say, there's another group where it's like I see it a lot where people are very interested in like the spiritual stuff, but I can often feel like it's kind of the reverse of what you were saying now, where it's like, let's actually talk about your life a little bit, where they'll be like having all these questions around like, because there it's like really spiritual stuff. It's like, kind of connecting to this deity and this being, and like I want to do this and I want to unlock that, and like it's
Right.
like cool, that's interesting.
I want the five C's: clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
clairsentience.
Exactly. It's like, can I have some upgrades for like my spiritual gifts and all this kind of stuff? And I'm like, yeah, but like, can you not feel this thing in you that you're avoiding? Or like this, because like I can feel it. It's
Right.
like why the same thing. It's like why um is yeah, it's like why does that matter so much? So it's yeah, the life shit is inseparable from the realization, I think is the point. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you went and did retreats with Angelo. Was there a kind of major flip where like
Yeah,
you're like, oh, whoa, this is
yeah,
this is what the word awakening means.
yeah. There
When did
was, but
that
I didn't
occur?
even I didn't even it's funny. I could look back and be like, that was the thing. But I got so immersed in this like flow state that I didn't know that that's what the awakening was, if that makes sense. But it
Mm,
was it was super um yeah, like I could look, because I don't know, when I was in it, there was no like reflecting on what was going on, really. There was just this like
right.
it was just 'cause
That part of the consciousness was shut off. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah.
but then later I was still seeking this awakening thing. So then I would like go back and, talk to people about it. And then they would kind of be like, no, but you feel like you're speaking from the inside, not from the like, and I'd be like, okay, so when did this happen? And then eventually it kind of was like, oh, okay, it was like then that thing shifted. But
Mm,
I would say the reason, like I'll just go back to the experience that I'm referencing, and the reason it felt the way it did was because for me it was so intertwined with the healing as well. Um, and something fundamental shifted, and I just felt this freedom from having to fix anything at all anymore. And this just this kind of inherent everything is absolutely okayness. And I was just like, great, I'm done. Like with the whole healing project that I'd been on for like so many years. Like there was just this, and it happened to go back to like guys like Jim Newman. I mean, I have to give him a lot of credit because it was like from one of his pointers. It was a mix of things. It was like all these things together, but
mm,
it was like yeah, there was like a bunch of insights all at the same time. Um, like the one day I sat down to meditate, and um, it was kind of I'd been doing the Kuladasa mind illuminated approach. So I was meditating every night. And again, there was this like continuity of like concentration or whatever, where I just sit and it would be like super absorbative and like peaceful. Yeah. But
nice.
then the one day I was doing that, and do you know, I think it's Samaneri Jayasara, the
Oh
wisdom.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic YouTube channel.
Yeah. So she had like a meditation course on Sam Harris's app as well. And it was like this kind of meditation, but like with a non-dual focus of like find that sweet spot between concentration and letting go. And I sat down the one night to do one of these meditations, and I still can't really describe what the experience was like, but it's the most profound experience I've ever had.
Mm,
And it was just this I don't know, like Frank Yang talks a lot about all these kind of like cessations and these kind of things. But
mm,
I've been listening to Angelo so much, I was like, you don't need to label anything. That's like, you don't need to keep track of your experiences. Like experience doesn't matter. But yeah, that something fundamental shifted in that meditation. Like I sat down, I it was like this weird. It was extremely blissful, but like this sweet spot happened where I just completely and utterly it felt like I was moving like super fast, like um and like dissolving into this like massive thing.
mm.
Again, there was no words like while it was like so I've only ever spoken about it like in podcasts since. Um but yeah, anyway, like that was completely I don't know, something fundamental shifted because like I woke up
You,
the next.
you entered some kind of hyperspace portal into infinite nothingness, and then
Pretty much, exactly. But it was
yeah,
like I heard people like I would listen to like Frank Yang and I was like, oh shit, like people were using all these kind of words. And I was like, oh
yeah,
yeah, I guess I could describe my experience in a similar way, but there was no like I didn't talk to anybody about meditation or anything. So there was like absolutely nothing to describe about the experience. But yeah, that's a good way to put it.
mm,
It was like this, but it was so absorbative and blissful, was like all I can say was it was just like this complete like yeah, it was the most blissful thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was like an orgasm times like a billion is what it felt.
times yeah, yeah.
it's
I
just
get it. I had one of those. Yeah.
it's insane.
It was like so blissful it would kill you.
Literally, man. I was just like, and
You could not live in a state like that, honestly. You
yeah,
couldn't walk around in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and it's fun. Like I can still notice thoughts happening in that space, um, and the thoughts were just like, oh wow, this is so nice. And it was like, but it was also like that's just there's just like this commentary going on, but at the same time, it was just like, yeah, the experience was what it was. Um, but yeah, like all of this happened like over like 2 weeks, I would say, like a bunch shifted over that 2 weeks. I also like the one day I would go through these cycles where like I'm suffering and then oh it's clear and there's no problem, there's nothing to solve. And then it was like, oh I'm
Mm,
suffering. And then I listened to Jim Newman the one day and I was like, yeah, it's just me like grabbing onto that every time it comes up. It's like, oh no, I'm suffering again. It's like, hold on a second. Like, I don't need to. I don't know. There was something that kind of like shifted in the identification with thoughts there, and then
Yeah, in that one of his pointers indicated that you didn't need to do anything about the suffering, right? Like it just
exactly. That was
was.
that's what it was. It was like I needed like why is that a problem? Why do I need to do something about this?
Yeah, that
And
is
like
that is Jim Newman's brilliancy
it
for
was
sure.
really it was really effective because
Yeah.
I was like I think I was journaling or something. I was like, hold on, like I'm suffering. Cool. It's like, what if I look at it like that?
It's like I'm suffering and like
Exactly. Exactly. That's and again, it's just like this massive relief. And then one day I was walking down the street. All of this again was in like a period of these 2 weeks. Um, it was maybe like the next day or something. I can't remember. And I was walking down the street and I was just like, there's no one anywhere. I was like, I just started like laughing with a guy on the street, like a complete random stranger. Like we walked past me and
yeah.
then like I just like smiled at him like completely radiantly because I was like, because I'd always had like really intense social anxiety for like that was one of the things before the whole chronic illness where I'd felt like something's not right with me. I need to fix something. I need to fix something. Because whenever I'd be around
Mm,
people, I'd feel so trapped up in my thoughts and like, uh, what do they think about me? How do I act normal? Like all this kind of shit. Um,
mm.
and then that was like, wow, there's not anything there that's like that can there's just no one there and there's no one here. And it was just a complete freedom in that moment where it was like there's that's just a bunch of thoughts. Like I am reacting to a bunch, like I'm worried about what the thoughts in that being or thinking about like the thoughts in this being. No, but like
Mm.
inherently it doesn't matter.
Right.
So that felt pretty
It's
peaceful.
just it's just it's just happening. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
Yeah.
happening. And there was just such a lightness to all of it where it was like it's so um yeah, it's just all it was just so peaceful and calm. And it was like that for uh yeah, it was like that for a couple of months. Um
Wow. That
Yeah.
is a that is a long afterglow, dude.
But if I think about
Yeah.
it, it was because I had this massive freedom. Like I was for the first time in 2 years, I could go like like I could go exercise again. I was just like life was just full of joy.
Dude.
I was just in this like joy because I was like, I've been seeking this for the last 2 years of like when can I do these things again? When can I do these things again? And then like again, it had taken me like a year of like hard work in, you know, reframing my thoughts and like, all this kind of stuff, deep meditation. And then eventually like kind of went exponential at the end where it was just like, yeah, I can do things again. I can do all of this. And at the same time, there's all these kind of shifts. And then it was just kind of really flowy and just like, yeah, it was really
Wow.
beautiful.
So there really was like a boiling point in
Yeah.
your process, like a point where all of that work accumulated and then boom,
Yes.
like
Exactly.
rocket just
There
took off.
was. Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't necessarily like as I said, it was more like a week or two of like everything opened up over that week or two, rather than like one specific event that. But it was like a cumulative period, and then um, it was so. I just remember being so relaxed, like in a way I'd never
Wow.
felt in my life, where it was like every conversation just flowed. Like I would just be around people, and it would
You're
be.
like, it's all bliss. It's all bliss, brother. It's all bliss.
There's nothing, there's no like, but it's funny because again, I was thinking of it in awakening terms, which is quite interesting. I think because I watched so much of Angelo and he really talks a lot about awakening, awakening, awakening. Um, and he's good at saying like awakening doesn't happen, it's not an event. But like I wasn't thinking like, this is the bliss, this is the awakening. I was just like, I'm finally free, like I can do whatever I want. But I was still like,
Mm.
what is Angelo talking about? Like, because he breaks down he's like very precise in the way that he talks about things.
Yeah, he presents clear stages,
Yeah, exactly. So I was still like,
whereas Newman doesn't, obviously.
yeah, exactly. I'd kind of really committed to like Angelo as my main teacher at that point.
Right.
Just for myself because I was like everything he said just resonated. And his book was amazing for me as well. Like I got so much transmission from his book as well, definitely.
I've
Um,
heard. I mean, I taught at his retreat, in at the Art of Living in December. And people were like, "Yeah, the book, and the point, the pointers, the exercises in the book, and
yeah.
the thing, and what he's teaching." I'm like, "No, I don't. I've never read any of stuff. I've only watched like one or two videos."
Yeah. But you were like you were already like deep in your own path before he even probably
Well, yeah, him and I met we met on this Facebook group called Awakening to Reality, and
right.
it was full of, these like really like true like Buddhist geeks.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so we met in that context specifically. They emphasize, anatta or no self a lot.
Yeah, I
But
remember checking it out a couple of years back. Yeah.
it's basically incomprehensible to understand unless you understand
Yeah, I
Madhyamaka Buddhism. I was like, what the? I'm like reading code. Like, what the hell are these guys
yeah,
saying?
yeah. But the book I read that one, what if it's like their practice guide or whatever, and there was some really powerful
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
transmission
yeah.
in that as well. But it's
Oh, the
very
whole the
much
whole thing's transmission for sure.
yeah, exactly. But it does have a bit like a big or like from what I saw of it, like I wasn't in there as much, but it was very intellectual. It felt very intellectually skewed as well. Like the
Oh yeah, the philosophically oriented.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Which is what's cool about Angelo is very much just like feel into things. Just
Yeah.
notice. It's not really necessary to take philosophical positions or
And I think
understand any
yeah,
specifics of Buddhism.
I think
Yeah,
that's why because I was a very intellectual dude before this whole thing where it was like
right,
again that's why I love Sam
right,
Harris and was like reading books about philosophy and physics and thinking I was gonna like figure out my existence through that route and then
right.
but luckily I found it very early on so I didn't do that with the whole Buddhist thing as well like I didn't get
Mm,
stuck in all of that. It was just like Angela was like look, it's got nothing to do with any of that, just surrender. And surrender was a huge part of my path as well, and I feel like he guided me into that quite well where he was like there's not a specific path. There's like if your heart's deepest intention is to know this, to wake up, you will like intuitively create your own path. And like giving people that permission, like for me, that was really
Yeah, that's what I heard is most
key.
powerful about his book is that he gives people permission to
Yeah.
acknowledge their awakening, and then they are able to actually take
It's
take that in.
it's
Yeah,
huge, man, because it's like and I see why he does it. And I think it's so important because like otherwise it's so easy for the mind to exclude itself. And like my mind was
correct.
doing this before I got that transmission basically from him where it was like but I can't wake up because of my chronic illness. That kind of that's what was going on where it was like
Mm,
you know I'm on this
mm.
path but the ego just wants to separate itself and be like but like or just find a reason to not be a part of it. And he really dissolved that in me where like it was such a sense of freedom the one day where I was like sitting on my couch. And I think I was listening to one of his old Zoom talks, like it was something on his channel, and um he was just talking about how this can start to unfold in people's lives. He was like, like this awakening process happens before you even know it's happening. And it's like sometimes for people it will like unfold as like a mysterious chronic illness, and then the next thing you're like on this part, and it was such a sense of relief for me because in my mind that had become such a fixation on my own path where it was like I there's people that are like on the awakening path and now there's people with chronic illnesses and they for some reason they don't like there's like
Cross. Yeah.
they don't cross. And then when he said that I was just like laughing for like 10 minutes because it was like oh, like it was just like a freedom from a fixation or like a yeah it was
It was for a reason.
yeah, that's what it felt like. It was like, oh my fucking god, like these two things
It
aren't
all
separate.
makes sense now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was yeah, it was really relieving. When I felt
Dude,
that.
I'm really happy for you, man. And I'm happy you got through all that. And the fact that, you even went through the process of retraining your mind and looking at options, it just speaks to who you are as a person. A lot of people give up and they would have stayed in those chat rooms and wallowed in their sadness. And it's not their fault. It's no one's fault, but the issue is that it doesn't help
Yeah,
their condition.
yeah. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I think that's what I like. I came to this point. Like, if we want to get into this, I think it's helpful for people that are already suffering. But like, I came to this point where I was like, either I'm gonna like take my own life, or I'm gonna like, which I wasn't. So then I was like, well, then I'd have to fucking do something about like to get
Like,
out of
well,
that like because if you take
you're like,
the depressive loop to it like this, I broke it down logically with myself. I was like,
yeah,
um in this, because I did go through this period of like rock bottom, like hopelessness, despair, where I was
right.
um I had been for a year like trying to heal, and then I I'd been excited at points where I found Sam Harris and I like read Man's Search for Meaning and all of this. I was like, wow, I want some deeper parts. Like this was really interesting. But then that all went away at some point, and I just like was fucking depressed. And I was like, I'm never gonna heal. I'm never gonna get better. And then I was just like, I can't remember. I was like, I have all these like suicidal thoughts, and I'd be like, yeah, I also got really overwhelmed by the suffering in the world. I think I started listening to too many like political podcasts.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and then I was like, it's just all pointless, it's all meaningless, it's all nihilistic, no one can do anything. That's where listening to Sam Harris was not helping, because he's very much on there's no
You
free
took
will.
it more, yeah,
Yeah,
political
yeah,
angle
I
and
listened
no
to his
free
political
will.
podcast as well because I liked his non-dual stuff, so I listened to the political
Right.
shit. And anyways, and then I was just like, yeah, but like me, like that's not going to help anyone. I was like, the suffering is too much, so like I just don't want to exist, like I don't want to be here. um and then
Right.
it was like, but I don't want to be here because it feels like there's too much suffering. And then it was like, well, me taking my own life is not going to help anyone at all. Um, and I'm not going to do it. Like I just sat down with myself one day. I was like, am I going to do that? And I was like, no. So then next time a thought comes up, like don't spin the fucking wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Like
Don't like go into that.
yeah, exactly. Like just the whole hopelessness thing. It's like, okay, cuts it off early on. Um, yeah. Anyways, it's a bit of a like
No, that was important. Yeah.
yeah, I think it is because people find themselves there. And yeah, and I've actually returned there many times, like since when the whole like the whole afterglow period, like
Faded after that, right?
faded after that, yeah. And
Yeah.
then
So I'm guessing you enter some kind of phase of contraction that followed the afterglow, like you had a dark
yeah.
night come up.
Yeah, but like not binary in the sense of like very flip-floppy, like in that like
Mm,
multiple dark nights and then oh, it's done, there's no more suffering, and then dark nights, and then oh, it's done, there's no more suffering, and then just realizing that whole thing is just a whole load of pointlessness.
oh, that's I mean, for me after my first opening, I was in a dark night dark night period for like a clear 3 years,
Oh
two or
wow.
3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But then it's hard to say that because my whole life's kind of been a dark night.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
man.
it's not until very recently that
Yeah,
things have come uh, to greater resolution.
yeah,
So it's hard to say really.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so you had that major shift and um so what would you say are some of the really big things that you've learned or has the awakening deepened?
mm,
What
yeah,
occurred? Did it stabilize?
yeah, yeah. Good questions. Yeah, I think I've had a lot of like refinements since then of like playing out egoic patterns and uh
Mhm.
yeah, I guess like through being more, because the thing is like in that phase it was almost like living in a monastery to a degree where it was
Right.
yeah, their life was very like one-sided. It was all just about practice
Yeah.
and and healing. And then after that, um, yeah, then it was life shit, man. It was like, oh shit, I have to like start earning money again. I have to, um, like, what else? Like, yeah, it was just living again, really. It was like I have to start living again. Not have to, like I was excited at first, but then
Nice.
a lot of contractions came up, so it was like being around people and like dealing with feeling like, yeah, losing the sense of everything's okay all the time and um
Hmm.
going. But it was interesting, yeah, because that lasted for like, if I think back, I don't know, like maybe 3 to 6 months, and then I started doing a lot of exercise again. So like that's where I think I started noticing it was I started cycling like a lot. I would go on these like 3 hour bike rides, and it's really nice for like inquiring, and like
Nice,
it's
dude.
like a
That's
meditation.
awesome.
It's like a practice in itself. Like I was just ride and like look at the world and be like, who's passing through the world? Am I passing through the world?
Mm.
Is the world passing through me? It was like really um yeah, I would have some real absorptive kind of experiences um, just through the cycling.
Yeah,
But anyways,
from that flow state.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
but then I started to notice these like there were. I remember this one thought coming up one day, and it was like, yeah, this will never go away because how could it go away? It just doesn't make sense that it can go away. Like that was so clear. It felt
Mm.
like where it's just like there's nothing to worry about because I can't lose this like this experience. Like it was just a returning to what's here. Um, and yes, it's
And yet you did.
like I think I thought of it the other day or something. Like how like tricky the ego is in that sense, or whatever, however we want to talk about it. But like where something
Right.
was just like, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Like I can do anything I want to because I just can't lose this. It's just me. Like I can't be separate from life. Like where the fuck am I gonna go? I can't lose this. Like that's just absurd.
Right.
But like you can get so contracted again, like you do.
Yeah, that the dualistic structures reassert themselves 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. Like, but it was like as I said, it wasn't binary in the sense that um, I had a lot of beautiful experience as well because like I went traveling for the first time ever, and it was like that was,
Mm.
and I was living from a completely different space now where it was like a lot more trust and surrender and flow in the sense of like just see how things unfold rather than like
You really flip from like a head person to a heart person, you'd say.
completely, yeah, interesting. And then I've had to
Yeah,
balance it out since actually, because then that became a fixation in itself, where I was like,
yeah. Like I'm too open, dude. I feel everything.
yeah, and also I was like completely anti-planning and like, yeah, planning is dumb, just like you have to surrender for everything.
I believe Jim Newman. There's no point in planning. Planning doesn't exist.
But it was like my own version of it. I'm like this surrender.
Right.
Um, yeah, like surrender became my
Surrender yogi, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
100%. And then I really started resonating with like the Christic energy or like Jesus's path, and then I would just do that with
Yeah.
everything. I would just be like
Right.
just give everything to like the devotional path as well. Really started to open up where it was like, um, but it's a tricky one because it can kind of I don't know. Whenever I return to the devotional path, it's always been quite beautiful. Um,
Right.
but it's just like sometimes I don't know. It's funny. There's been like a flip flopping sometimes that I've noticed where it would be like devotion control, surrender control, um, that kind of a
Yeah, because the when you're in the devotional flow, when you're in that, it feels like to plan everything is asserting your control. To plan anything is asserting your control over God's
yeah,
will, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So, but it's also not, it's not accurate in the sense that when you flip and then you're back more in the intellect, like that's God, that's the absolute as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
often we receive ideas and we receive impressions because the other half of the equation is for us to build a plan around it and
Yeah,
do something with it.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that kind of happened a lot last year. I think was this like shifting more into like a building phase or like a doing phase of like. But
Right.
again, it was still flip floppy because I think then I would sometimes get too caught up in like the finer details of like I need to control every little last aspect because I had like a kind of perfectionist tendency as well. That's why I think the surrender
Mm.
was such a relief where it was like like I don't have to um, get everything right. Um,
Like, Krishna, Krishna, take the wheel. Take the wheel,
Literally.
Krishna.
Literally, man. Yeah. But then sometimes life's like, no, you fucking take the wheel, Kyle.
Right, exactly.
Like,
It's like wake the fuck up, Kyle.
yeah.
It's
Like,
you're
you're
late.
part of it as
Wake
well,
up.
right? It's like you're the
Right.
your will is part of it. Like I have to assert
Yeah.
my will sometimes.
It's like, dude, I need you to be my emissary. Like, come
Yeah.
on, get on with it.
Exactly. Play your role. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I guess that's just like the last year or so has been about like just finding what that's kind of what we were talking about before we started the call was like um yeah, just kind of finding alignment just with also like with making money and then like I started
Right.
helping people as well because I started sharing like shortly after I had the release and the freedom because again for me it was all about the healing at that it was about the long covid and the thing and I was just like all I wanted to do was
Yep.
tell other people that they could get through it as well so I started the
Mm.
YouTube channel and I was just like initially I was just talking about like it was the same thing again I was talking about it like work with your symptoms but it was if I was talking about awakening I'd be saying the same things of like just um but I was talking about it through the lens of healing um
Right.
but anyways, long story short, like I that somehow developed. People wanted me to help them, and then um, a year or so ago, I started working in groups, and yeah, then I just started thinking a lot about like money, and I guess just experimenting with things of like, okay, so how like what feels the most um true, I guess, and that's where the devotional side comes in, where it's like, okay, yeah, like this is more about devotion for me and then like finding ways to make money alongside to support that but like
Right.
yeah I don't know that has been one of my like interesting things I've been exploring for a while it's like balancing the two uh,
Yeah. Yeah. How to make a congruency and
yeah
how to really build and create something out of that. Yeah, I think it's a thing that a lot of seekers are in. I mean, I haven't mastered it, at all
yeah
by any means.
that's
So
the thing that's what it goes to it's like more the systems kind of thing it's like okay now
right.
how does this fit in with the kind of capitalist economic system that we live in and like
Yeah.
how do we balance that with like wanting the dharma to be kind of you know
Free.
yeah
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
it's like yeah
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it frustrates me a
It
lot of the time I get like fucking fed up with the economic systems and that everything's
yeah, I mean, I mean, you just gotta get a piece of land and I don't know, build some homes out of aircrete and
literally
just and start homesteading. I think ultimately that's what a lot of
yeah
stuff is gonna have to come back to, especially if AI displaces a lot of jobs. I think
yeah
in many cases people will return to a more self-sufficient way of living out of necessity,
yeah and that's
so
I mean that's what kind of we were talking a bit about last year like me you and Ziad and like
right.
that was the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
yeah that was like that's the feeling I've had for a while but again it's like the practical side of things.
Actually, it's actually doing it.
Land and money and all these things.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But I feel like that's being seeded as
yeah,
divine plan and impulses for a lot of people. I can't tell you how many people I come across who've had the same vision. They're like,
yeah,
oh, I have this vision for these healing centers and these little, these domes and all the food, makes itself and
yeah,
the necessary activities are handled by robots. It's
yeah,
like it's yeah. So I think it's just a path that humanity's going to go on. It seems. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what like that's what I've been trying to figure out. I would say recently was like, what do I want to do with like my time and my energy to try to like make that happen, or just like
Right.
what is going to be the best use um,
Life,
of my life? Yeah, literally though. Yeah, for sure. Because
my existence. Yeah.
yeah, like because I've thought about it, and I'm probably still going to do it. Like go back to because I was studying economics and finance, so it's like I was almost done with my degree.
Right.
So, but I go back, make a lot of money, um, in that field and then like use that to buy land and kind of build things, or should I just like completely commit to the um you know like I don't know, more mystical healing path.
Right.
And it's like I had that a lot of like pushing and pulling around that part of my life,
Yeah.
which kind of yeah, it's been
Which is
unfortunate.
which is necessary because whatever it is that you or anybody ends up doing, reality, God, absolute wants you to be sure that you're sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the thing because it's only with like
Yeah,
true and genuine resolve that you'll push through the difficulties and challenges that come with that particular outcome. Like in the same way that
yeah,
you got sick and you had to go through this awakening,
yeah,
you really buckled down for a solid 18 months or two
yeah,
years, and to get any kind of project off the ground, it takes the same kind of resolve. So if we're not really sure that that's what we want to do, if
yeah.
we're not really certain in that particular unfolding, then the challenges will make you buckle.
That's
Totally.
that. That's I love that. That really resonates with yeah. It's funny you asked like and you asked me what's been happening. Like that's when I went to Indonesia in December, right? And like just before Indonesia, I'd done like a big group. I had like 20 um 28 people, and we it was like a really and it was
Cool,
in
man.
yeah, it was
Cool.
amazing. And it was like a 6 week like deep immersion where we were meeting like I was doing like 6 sessions a week. So it was a lot.
Wow.
But it was also like a lot of really heavy, intense energy because there was people that were really uh, you know, like yeah, working through a lot of intense shit. And
Yep.
it was beautiful and all of that. But then like a part of me was like I think I'd done a couple of groups like back to back and I was working with people one on one and I was super like ambitious and excited about all of this. And at the same time, there was like it just started to come up, like something in me that was like it was almost like this little I don't know, I think I've had it in me my whole life, like something that just wants to like just not just step away from everything. Like a kind of
Mhm.
self-sabotage kind of thing, but it's like um I think it comes from like a deeper wound or something like that of
Yeah, that like that voice of like, oh, fuck everything, just
yeah, exactly. It's like almost this kind of like
retreat.
something around like not being appreciated or that. But it's funny because I was like it was beautiful and people appreciated anything. But it's almost like that sense of like a separate will, something that just wants to like go its own way.
Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't just that. It was also just like this uncertainty about what I wanted to do and like making
Right.
money and all these kind of things. But the reason I bring it up, it really ties in nicely with what you said now. I went and I decided like because I also stay with my family here and like this yeah this shit and
Mhm.
I was like I need to go traveling so I went to Indonesia for a month and
Are you kind of also in a caretaker position?
not quite
Okay.
it's just like a uh there is a little bit with my grand but there's enough people in the family that it's not just on me like it's all kind of
Okay.
it's
Got
like
you.
my parents and my sister and all of us so yeah I probably spend the most time just like doing this kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
But anyways, what I asked for from that trip because I was very confused. I was like, what do I want to do going forwards? Like, do I want to commit fully to this path? Do I want to like branch out and do something else? Like, go back and finish my studies? Do I want to go down this path? Go down that path? And I was just like asking for clarity. I was like, can this trip to Indonesia just give me clarity? Like, I don't know how
Nice.
it's going to come, like what form, but like that's kind of what I was
You
hoping
asked
for.
for that.
I asked for that, and it came in like in quite a brutal way. I think like I just started to feel so like lost. It wasn't like it wasn't the whole time. Like there was beautiful experiences, and it was like I met cool people and I had fun. But I
Right.
think I came back and I felt really lost. And a large part of the reason was because I wasn't doing a lot of the like I'd taken a break from the container and the one-on-ones. It's not like I wasn't doing anything in that space. And
Good.
exactly. And but I got that
Yeah.
contrast because I don't know what you just said, like felt so true in the sense of like it made me realize how much I wanted to like how much I loved facilitating that space for people, where I was like, I felt like I was just like completely like life is just meaningless in a sense. Like, like I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it tastes like if I go with that thing in me that's like, no, I don't really want to do this and blah blah blah. I was like, that feels horrible.
Mm,
it's
right,
that,
right, right.
it's that like you said, because to go through then the like challenges or whatever, like I needed that um resolve of like I really fucking want to do this rather than just like, yeah,
Yeah, rather than just doing it because it's what's happening. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And like always it's like, yeah, but it's like I have a back door, like I can go do this instead, or I can go do that instead.
Life has a tendency to put us in a position where we actively have to choose something,
Yeah, yeah,
not passively. And that is an important step. That's a necessary requirement, because without that, you're not you're not really totally in, you know.
yeah, exactly.
You're like you have one foot in and then like, half a foot out, and you're like, well, I'm mostly in.
Yeah,
It's like, no, dude, you gotta, yeah, if it's on your purpose, if it's on your destiny,
yeah,
you got to be all in. It's one thing to even have the gift and the fortune. I mean, because it really is fortunate
yeah,
that you even have a calling,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
Like a lot of people don't. I mean, I know tons of people that have money that
yeah,
don't. And
yeah,
they're like, yeah, I'm just good with money, man, but like my life is totally empty. Can't stand it.
yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing, that my frustration would often almost be the other way around. It's like, yeah, I have the calling, but like, come on, life, give me something. Yeah.
Like I need to eat, bro. What's happening?
Literally. Not because I hate like yeah, that goes back to the whole thing we're talking about. It's like I
It's like,
want,
damn, should I go on a fast? I'll save some money. I think
yeah.
if I fast for 2 weeks, I'll save a couple $100.
I just hate like that's what I do, like a donation model with my it works really well there. It was like an experiment to be like, if
You
if I
told me
just
about this, and it worked.
and
Yeah,
it worked. Because I was like, I don't like excluding people for financial reasons. But that's the thing. Then often I was like, yeah, but I'd love a job where you can actually just charge and you don't feel bad about it.
yeah, exactly. It's like, what do I have to do? Do I have to make products? Like what?
Yeah,
Like how
exactly.
do I make this consistent?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so the funny story, like I still think intuitively I do feel inclined to go back and finish my degree, but it's like very much that I want to
Yeah,
do it alongside all of this. I think that's what feels clear.
right.
Like,
Yeah, this is the thing, dude. We just kind of like live in extremes, with spiritual people, as people that are practitioners, as people who have been through, the health crisis that you had, and
yeah,
whatever pain and traumas in your life. We live in these like it has to be this or that. Like
yeah,
I can't go to school and deepen this process. I can't deepen this process and
yeah,
do that at the same time. It's like we don't
yeah,
we don't really know until we try.
yeah, exactly. And
That's the thing. Yeah.
and like you said, life, because it's funny, I had that feeling last year where it felt like I had to make this kind of decision. Because last year I was feeling the same thing, like, do I want to go back and finish that degree? And at the same time, I was getting kind of busy. So I was like, can I do both? Can I do both? But it's funny how like it circles back. Like again, if it's something that's like, meant to like be a part of your journey, or like, is aligned, or whatever words we want to use, like, because last year it felt like such a big decision, and then this year it feels like a lot simpler, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, now I know that I probably do really want to do both, and it's like, but last year the mind was all like, what's the right decision? Like, what do I
Right.
do? It just felt so like
Which path to take. I feel the pressure. I feel the crisis.
it
Yeah.
felt like there was so much riding on it. Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
felt. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I've been there too, man.
yeah,
Had to make major decisions, had to choose between two paths. It's
yeah,
it's the crucible. I think the suffering, a lot of the suffering that we have now. I don't know who I was talking to that was saying this. Oh yeah, yeah. I was talking to a friend yesterday. He was saying like there's just too many options
yeah.
all the
Oh
time.
yeah, I've been
Yeah,
thinking the same. Like to be honest, man,
yeah.
I feel the most gratitude to like life, or whatever we want to call it, like, like this whoever's looking over me, like when an option falls away. Like when I've got these things and
You're
something is
like,
like,
you're
no,
like,
you
oh,
cannot do
thank,
when you cannot do that one. I'm like, thank you. That's like the
you're
best
like,
gift
thank,
anyone could have given
you're
me.
like, thank God I don't have to choose. Oh Lord,
Literally.
you chose for me. Thank you.
But that's, you said it earlier and you were spot on where you're like, life sometimes is like, no, you have to choose. And
Right.
and I have that's been a fixation for me. It was like always like, yeah, let life choose, let life choose. It's like sometimes it's like, no, you gotta choose. Um, and I hate it. I'm like, oh, why? Why? Fuck you. Why do I have to choose?
Yeah, because life needs to choose. Life needs to choose through you
Yeah,
as well. You
yeah,
know, that's
exactly.
that's part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. But I
Yeah, because I
agree.
because I know I notice with awakening or whatever it is, with whatever it is, we can take the non-dual approach and say like there are no lessons and there's nothing happening, but like inside,
Yeah.
I feel that we know that
Yeah.
doesn't capture the entirety of it. There
Yeah.
is a learning that is happening. There
For
are
sure.
lessons that are unfolding.
For sure. I agree with
You know,
that
there
100%. Like, uh,
yeah.
I felt like I learned so much on this recent trip to Indonesia. It was a lot around practical shit as well. Like I missed a flight and it cost me a lot of money. And then I was like,
You're like, bro, this ADD, man, I gotta get a handle on this. How did I forget this?
I was like, yeah, no, it was more like, I was just like, yeah, fuck. Like, you got to look after your resources and stuff. That's what I think that was my main takeaway from it. Was like, yeah, it's all surrender and flow until you're like, oh shit, like, you know, um, I don't know, it's just a bunch of like I had to like pay a bunch of taxes last year that I hadn't had to do before. It's like all the stuff around practical like life felt like it was like sort out
Yeah.
your that side of things, like
Yeah,
to
it's all flow until you receive the wrath of the Lord, and then you're like, oh yeah, I could have just did this thing called planning.
literally it's like okay, now I see, why again nothing's left out, and that's part of the whole reality as well. Literally. But it was
Yeah,
learning.
this
That's the lessons thing because it was like
right.
I wouldn't have done that. Like it just the energy that I was in at the time, like
Right.
people even told me like, make sure you get to the airport a little bit earlier. And I was like, it's fine. I'll get to the airport when I need to.
And then you get there and you're like, I'm never gonna be late again. I've had it.
Literally, exactly. It's a lesson. It's like, okay,
This
lesson
is
learned.
never happening again. I'm never gonna lose $400 again.
Lesson learned, 100%. There's definitely
Yeah.
lessons. I agree. Yeah. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, the options thing, like yeah, I definitely feel that one. Um, like there's so many options nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, one of my teachers was mentioning this in a call. He's like, yeah, I mean, back then, you know, you clocked in at 9, you clocked out at 5, you
Yeah,
came home, there was dinner, you sat on the couch with your kids and you fell asleep. And you
yeah,
got up and you did it again.
yeah. I often think about that. Like again, I think that's the thing that I was considering. I was like, yeah, the simplicity of like uh, just that like you go to work, you work, and then you meditate when you want to meditate. It's not like there's all these. I mean, but like this is the funny thing with our minds, right? It's like when we're
Right.
in that, we're like, oh, imagine how nice it would be to have all this freedom. And we've got all this
Yeah.
freedom, and we're like, oh, if only there was more structure. It's
Yeah. It's
like
just it's just like completely unreliable, dude.
exactly.
It's like it's just it's the nature of the reactive mind is discontent.
Yeah,
Once you have all the freedom and you have all the time and you're able to travel here and there, even if you live, you it's not like you're living a lavish lifestyle or anything like that. Then you're like, man, the structure of a job was fantastic. It actually kept me on track and the paycheck was real nice.
yeah,
But then when you had the job and you had the paycheck, you were like, oh God, I should be doing something more with my
yeah.
time.
All
Like this
all you're
is
dreaming of is
useless.
like, oh, if only I was like self-employed and I could do my own thing and have all this freedom and these options. And it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Then you're like, oh, oh yeah, too much freedom is not that great. Actually, it's detrimental.
yeah. Frank Yang was actually talking about that the other day. Like he did a whole video. I think he titled it "The Joy of a 9 to 5," where he was like,
Yeah.
because he'd always been just like making YouTube videos and like just living in that
Right.
flow state.
As an
But
artist, yeah.
yeah, but like
Creative.
completely chaotic as well. Like he's always
Right.
like really chaotic. And
Yep.
and then he was talking about like yeah, the whole 9 to 5 thing of like now because now they do that like CC group and it's a lot more like Monday to Friday doing calls and stuff and just like yeah, how structure is really uh
Yep.
yeah, it's there's almost freedom
It's
in
what
structure, like
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I was yeah, people have said, yeah, like I've had friends who had an awakening in prison. And they said, yeah, like if there's parts of prisons where you have employment and they're a little different than the rest of the prisoners. Yeah, they're more like working on themselves. Some of them are working on their education and the structure of being in that environment, working, being in school, things are regimented. I think for the male brain, it's just incredible,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
definitely I long for it sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I used to be a monk, right? And
Right.
when I was a monk, everyone got up at
Yeah.
5:30. Everyone did this together. Everyone they'd wash their clothes together. Everyone just did, and then in like 4 p.m. everyone would work out together, and it was
Yeah.
like the coolest thing ever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to have a group of guys that were like doing that for 2 months straight was just
Yeah.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
was
you
really
don't
cool.
you don't have to like spend any energy on decision making. Like
Right, exactly. There's no
there's
decisions to make, Yeah.
yeah. And it's like that's what um that's like the most energetically taxing thing in my life, all these fucking decisions I think about.
Decisions and options, and you're just like, oh God.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, man, this was a great conversation. I'm pretty sure people are gonna have a good laugh.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
yeah, it's always fun chatting with you.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, great talk with you, man. And looking happy to do the part two anytime, and
Yeah.
we'll chop a whole nother thing up. This was great.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah. If you have any other topics you want to get into at any time, just send me a message. I'm sure we could explore a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks for all the questions as well. It was good questions. I enjoyed
You got it. Thanks, Kyle.
it.